Munsons at the movies. Thanks for listening.
He's got one foot in the frying pan and one in the pressure cooker. Believe me, as a bowler, I know that right about now, your bladder feels like an overstuffed vacuum cleaner bag, and your butt is kind of like an about-to-explode bratwurst.
Hey, do you mind? I wasn't talking when you were bowling.
Was I talking out loud?
Welcome to Munsons at the Movies. My name is Kyle. Once again, be your host. Joined by the rest of the Munsons. Want to give them a wide berth.
What is called a born loser? A real Munson.
And talk a little bit about what's going on in their world. This time we'll start with Case.
Aside from being incredibly excited for our annual Halloween episode, still a little bit disappointed we didn't get to talk about my man Bruce Campbell, but I'll get over that. I've been stuck in a YouTube rabbit hole with one of my new favorite YouTube channels. It's called Space Ice, and it's this movie reviewer that essentially just trashes Steven Seagal. And he finds a creative way to trash Steven Seagal all the time, and it is so funny.
Love it.
I am swayed easily because one of the videos does say that Roadhouse is the greatest movie ever made, and that Kurt Russell in Big Trouble in Little China is the best actor ever. So it did catch my attention.
You sure you aren't this podcast personality? It's not you? You're not promoting your own podcast? Is that what's going on?
I feel like birds of a feather in this situation, certainly, but it is not me. I have neither the time nor the creativity that this individual has.
I mean, crapping on Steven Seagal, that's low-hanging fruit. That guy deserves every bit of hatred you can send his way. So
funny.
How about you, Aubrey?
It's the last podcast before basketball season.
Ooh.
I'm excited for this basketball season. It's going to be great. We have a state championship game to go back to. But man, does my time get really intense over the next couple of months. So I'm excited for it, but I'm also enjoying this last little bit of freedom.
Uh-huh.
James, what about you?
Dude, I've been crushing movies for spooky season. Incredible year for horror. I've just been blown away by a lot of the movies I've seen.
Yeah.
And I mean, very fitting. You know, I need to get a refresher on some legendary slasher franchises. So I really enjoyed reviewing some of these movies for our boy tonight.
I want to give a shout out to a fan, Morgan Brickley. We were texting yesterday because of birthday stuff, and she went out of her way to remind me that she still listens to the pod and loved the Jeff Bridges episode. Listen to you guys while I'm on road trips and keep doing what you're doing. I love that. That's great. So shout out to Morgan, Case's sister, all the other randos who listen to us, probably some people in Uruguay or something like that, wherever people get excited about the work that we do. So shout out to them. But my other piece is related to the acting legend that is DDL, Daniel Day-Lewis. I went and saw Anemone a couple weeks back, and I'm not going to say the movie's very good, but I love Sean Bean. I love Daniel Day-Lewis. And Daniel Day-Lewis, if you haven't seen it, gives a 5-minute monologue about how he took a shit on a priest who molested him when he was younger. And that's cinema, baby. His Munson Meter score is still holding up, if anybody was wondering.
Was that the Brad Dourif movie?
No, unfortunately not.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Final Judgment.
No, far different defecation stories than those ones.
I didn't remember him in that movie, so that confused me.
Yeah, he's still a legend. He's incredible. Shout out to DDL coming out of retirement to be in his son's movie. But also shout out to the return of our annual guest Munson for our horror Halloween episode, Stephanie Malone, probably the person Case is going to start blaming that Bruce Campbell is not picked by the wheel. I think he's starting to take it personal.
So sorry.
She's got good taste.
I love Bruce Campbell.
That's right. See, Kyle?
Stephanie is the founder and editor-in-chief of MorbidlyBeautiful.com, a website dedicated to indie horror and genre entertainment, including movies, video games, books, comics, art, television, and more. She's also the co-host of several podcasts, including Cheer and Loathing, Guilty Pleasures, and Untold Horrors. Stephanie pays the bills by working as a professional graphic designer, copywriter, and creative marketing director by day. Her other passions include writing, producing indie films, and sharing her love of movies as a film journalist and Rotten Tomatoes proof critic. She's super active on Instagram, and you can find her at srgreenhaw. She was previously with us for the last 4 Halloweens for Jamie Lee Curtis, Nev Campbell, Max von Sydow, and Doug Jones. Welcome back to the pod, Stephanie.
Thank you for having me. My favorite time of year. I appreciate it.
It's always exciting.
Yes.
I know you've been dealing with a little bit of a bug lately, but it sounds like you've been absolutely crushing horror fests and Brad Dourif content.
Yes, the last film festival is what gave me this bug, but it was worth it. Fantastic Fest. It was a great time. I definitely have been suffering since then. It's all good.
Stephanie, is there a film that you saw at the fest that you think has got some promise that we're all going to hear about in a couple months, maybe?
I mean, I see so many films and they're all absolute bangers. But the one that I think is coming out pretty soon that I had a surprisingly amazing time with is Primate, about a killer chimpanzee. It's like a Cujo homage. It's so freaking fun. Like, it's outrageous. It's insane. It's just chaotic and wonderful. And I had a great time with it. And I did not expect to love that one.
Yeah, I'm in.
Troy Kotzer of Coda fame.
It was a good time.
Hell yeah. We're excited for that. We're excited to have you back. And I think we're going to have a really fascinating conversation about our man of the hour, Brad Dourif. Welcome back, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Birthdays, October 30th. We got 3 good ones here. So first and foremost, we have Henry Cover Him With Bees Winkler, known for things like Happy Days, The Waterboy, Night Shift, Click, Barry, Holes, Heroes, Parks and Rec, An American Christmas Carol, and Little Nicky. How old is Henry Winkler?
He's so fucking funny in Barry.
He's great.
It's just such a funny bit.
I thought you were going to say he's so old.
I did too.
He is so old,
I was like,
though.
damn.
He's not 50. I'll give you that hint.
I'm going to say 85.
It's a good start.
I'll go a little younger, be respectful. I'll say he got Happy Days when he was like real young, and so he's 78.
I'm going to say 75.
I was going to guess 78 too, but I'm going to change that so I don't have the same answer. I'm going to bump it up a little bit. I feel like he's late 70s, but maybe let's go 80.
That's a wonderful guess because he's turning 80, Stephanie. So you just came out of nowhere and just nail on the head.
Come
She does it
on.
3 times. We get fishy.
No.
If it happens once, it's okay.
I was going to say 78. I really was. That was my guess, but
Still would have been right, and that's all good.
James, you almost won that one.
I tried my best.
This is one of us. All right, next up. You don't have to go back far on this one. Nia Long, feature on our last Munsons episode, has a birthday on October 30th. I'm not going to list out her roles. I'm going to say go listen to that episode if you're interested in what she was in. How old is Nia Long?
Man, I knew I should have paid attention.
you guys should know, right?
You named her age at the end of the episode, Case.
I don't remember that.
I mean, I know it, but I'll let you guys get this off.
Oh,
She's 36.
That's older than I thought. I was going to say 32.
No, they're just being nice.
I was going to say she's older than that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know.
Because she was like iconic in the early 90s, right? When she was probably in her early 20s. So I'm bad at math, but.
Oh, you know what? That's a good point. Kyle, I'm going to change mine to 33.
You're worse at math than I am.
Stephanie, you could easily win this one with a legitimate guess if you don't go over. So, just choose wisely.
I haven't guessed yet. And I know the answer. So,
I mean, she's in her 50s, I would guess. I'll say 53.
these are all great guesses, but the answer is obviously 23. As you guys know this.
She looks 23, and that's all that matters.
Stephanie is going to win this one, unsurprisingly. She's turning 55, so the win there. If you go back to the episode, Kay said she was in a Skims campaign at 54.
That's amazing.
Dead giveaway.
Good for her.
I don't remember that. I mean, I remember that, but I don't remember the age.
The only thing I have to say to her if she's listening is I watched the Rockets play yesterday. They lost.
Yeah.
They're not going to a championship game. And I led a basketball team to a championship game, and I would never do you like that.
That's right.
Is this the section of the pod where I get to shit on Ime Adoku?
Yo, I told Josh about that, and he laughed the whole time. He's like, yeah, you should spend about half of the show doing it.
Yes. Needs to be acknowledged.
And we edited out a lot.
All right, last but certainly not least, and I think ironic and fun, is his daughter has a birthday, Fiona Dourif.
What?
That's amazing.
October 30th. We talk about timing, right? So how old is Fiona Dourif?
Oh, this is what I get for not looking at the show notes, because I looked to see how old she was when I watched the last Chucky movies, and I don't remember.
She's in the Chucky films in the show.
Yeah.
Tenet, The Blacklist, The Pit, The Purge show, and lots of other stuff I didn't recognize.
She's great in the bit.
I know she was born like a few years before the first Child's Play. She was pretty young. And Child's Play came out 88. Is that right?
Yep. The year I was born.
She's born early 80s, probably. She's in her 40s.
I would love to hear guesses. I don't know. Can't speak to that.
Or she's 25.
She's not 25.
Yeah, as I say, you've done all the heavy lifting here.
Yeah. I feel like she's between 40 and 45. So I'm going to split the difference. I'll go 43 is my guess on her.
Well, being that you laid out all that context, I know she's younger than Nia Long, so it probably puts her at 32.
God. It's intuitive. James?
Based on the math that was shared with us, I'm going right underneath. I'm going to say 39.
Clean sweep tonight.
What?
She's turning 44 years old, so Stephanie, 3 for 3 in the birthdays.
Yay!
Great math.
Unbelievable.
I think you guys let me win for sure, because I know you guys know these.
James tried on the third one, though.
Mm-hmm.
I tried on all three.
I thought Aubrey won, but I lost count.
All right, happy birthday to them and anybody else with a birthday on October 30th. We're at episode 126. We had 5 actors we threw on the wheel. It's our Halloween episode, so the ones that are left over from the last couple of years that didn't get picked. Lance Henriksen, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Tony Todd, and Bruce Campbell, the 2 OGs have been there since the start, have yet to be selected, but the wheel did select Brad Dourif. He's got 175 credits. He's done a ton. And yeah, obviously has one of the most legendary horror characters out there, even to the point where Call of Duty it did an event 3 days ago that is a Chucky event where you can get the Chucky from Bride of Chucky and Tiff as playable characters, and he's in Fanta commercials. Like, still to this day, Chucky is all the rage. So excited to talk about this. But before we get into the details, the roles we love from Dourif, the ones we hate, the ones we despise, the ones memorable, we always start with a little actor trivia and see if James can stump us Fast and Furious style.
Everyone here is part of the initiated, but for those of you at home who might be listening for the first time, I'm going to read off 3 facts, 2 which are going to be true about our man of the hour, Brad Dourif, and 1 of which is not going to be true about him, but is going to be true about one of the many illustrious cast members of the Fast and Furious franchise. Everyone here is going to have to guess which one that is. Fact number 1, he emptied his pool, enclosed it, and built an extension off the back of his house solely for his cats to play in it. Fact number 2, he had been left back more than once in elementary school and flunked out of college, but eventually became a college professor despite his struggles with academics.
Oh, man.
And fact number 3, he grew up in a fairly rich childhood. His stepfather who raised him was a champion golfer.
Oh,
Wow.
good grief.
God, I really want the cat one to be true. Like, I'm bumping up my score if that's true, because that's amazing.
Whose grandfather from Fast and Furious would have been a championship golfer? That would be funny.
I think this episode, I think it's more about the Fast and Furious character than it is Brad Dourif. So that's obviously about Professor Diesel. Noted academia professor. That's my guess.
You know, I say this every year, but one of these times before I record this, I'm going to have to watch Fast and Furious franchise because I'm always lost.
No,
You don't have to.
You for sure do not have to do it.
Just watch Fast 5.
Okay.
So I'm going third one because I think James is playing 3D chess here. And I'm saying, in honor of the great Super Bowl news and the hit Netflix movie, this is The Lie, and it's Bad Bunny.
Oh.
Who is in F9.
Oh, I like that.
Cross promotion.
You know what? The most unathletic Fast and Furious character I can think of, actor, is probably Ted Levine. So I think it would be funniest if his dad or grandfather was a professional golfer, because he's more likely to be a creepy professor than having anything to do with golf. So that's my guess.
I'm pretty positive that the second one is true because I saw an interview with him talking about teaching, if I'm not crazy and misremembering that. Ugh, I don't know. I really want one to be true. I think one's the lie, but that's the one that I'm excited most about.
We'll start with fact number 3. He grew up in a fairly wealthy family, and his stepfather who raised him was a champion golfer. That's true. His father was an art collector. He passed away when Brad was really young, and his mom remarried Will Campbell, who at that point owned an insurance company, but was also a champion golfer. He acknowledges that, having that level of wealth in West Virginia, where he's from, it's like it was a privileged life, but the struggles that he dealt with were solely based on his issues that he had in school. He's like, I didn't have a great relationship with my stepfather, mostly because of the approach he turned to what Brad now knows is a learning disability that he has. He's like, he was trying to school out brain chemistry, which we now know can't be done. He's like, so that was a pretty stressful relationship. He's like, my mom, it's like, she taught me how to read. It wasn't fun for either of us. It's like, it was hard on her and it was hard on me. He's like, but I looked up to her and I adored her. That actually plays into fact number 2 as well, which is, it's true. He'd been left back more than once. He flunked 3rd grade. He flunked out of college. He struggled reading, and he still eventually became a professor at Columbia. He had issues with short-term memory. He's like, I just simply wasn't designed for school. Everybody in my family was really smart, and I clearly had ADD before people knew what ADD was. It's like, and so I flunked 3rd grade twice. Well, life was more difficult for me and my family than I would have liked for it to have been, simply because they didn't know what he was dealing with, which I found very fascinating, because he gets nominated for an Oscar and says, fuck it, I'm just going to go teach. And it's just like such a unique way to approach a career.
Yeah.
Fact number 1, he emptied his pool and closed it and built an extension off the back of his house solely for his cats to play in. Honestly, all 3 of these are true. He's just he's a fascinating dude himself.
Amazing.
Yeah, he lives upstate New York with his girlfriend of like 30 plus years, and he's like semi-retired. And so he's spending money the way I would spend money if I was an eccentric, rich, old artist. Instead of working, he decorated his swimming pool and closed it so that they can be outdoors safely at night. He's like, people call it a catio. He's like, but it's really too big to call it that now. He's like, it's more like a cat city. My cat's Honey Mustard and Snapdragon. Great names.
Yes.
Have a really good time back there.
Hold on, wait, 2 cats?
Yeah, he's only got 2. Yeah.
He built a whole thing for 2
He
cats.
enclosed the pool for 2 cats.
That's amazing.
That is great.
His quote was really funny. He's like, the contractor who helped build it, when I told him why I was doing it, he just laughed and said, expensive cats, huh?
Some people buy expensive cars, yachts. He just like biggest cat emporium I can possibly make. Go.
It reminded me of when I learned that Tyrese built a Benihana in his backyard.
Yeah.
It's just like certain things where I'm like, oh, why would you spend your money like that? It's just so gaudy. And then there's other things where I'm like, that's actually cool. That's like Richie Rich style. Let's just do stupid shit with our money. I like that.
Glorious.
Marks down extra points for being a cat dad with elegance. You bet
For sure.
ass. Good job, James. That's awesome. What a fascinating guy. All right, Case, what do we got for Snapshot and box office?
The Halloween episode is always very difficult for the actors we're looking at when you look at their box office. Just because there tends to be a lot of like obscure movies and movies that don't have a lot of box office information. And this certainly falls in line with that. That being said, though, he does have one movie that is one of the best movies we looked at from a box office standpoint, and that is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which had a $3 million budget, world gross $109 million.
Whoa.
And that's in 1975. That is absurd box office numbers. I thought that was really interesting, especially as a way to start his career. But other than that, a lot of the numbers aren't all that telling. So let's just get into the comparative numbers we have. The first one I like to look at is always average budget. He comes in at $16.4 million, which is 122 on our ranking out of 126.
Oh, wow.
Total box office, $3.2 billion, 53rd on our list. Really got a huge bump from Lord of the Rings on that one. Star meter, at time of recording, he's at 1,317, which ranks him 76th. Critic and fan ranking, not surprisingly, is where he gets hammered in our metrics. With a 49.5 critic ranking, that ranks him 102. With a 45.5 fan ranking, that ranks him at 126.
That's offensive.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
It's tough when you're in a lot of like obscure horror films like Ginger Clown and stuff like that. The hardcore fans might like that stuff, but the casual movie fan will watch it and be like, what did I just do with my life? Like, why did I do this?
I'm sorry, but have you seen Ginger Clown?
I have. It's so bad.
It's so good. No, it's so good.
It's insane.
It's so bad. But
like,
so
if you're
good.
looking for an insane experience, oh, you bet your ass I watched Ginger Clown.
Hell yeah, me too.
One of the things that hurts in the era that he was most prominent in is you had to pay to go watch movies, or you had to rent the movies. A lot of people were paying money for movies. They weren't just streaming them for free. I think people probably tend to be a little bit more critical of films that they pay. I know I am. If I got to pay for a movie that I'm reviewing on here, it better be good or it's going to get hammered. And so I think that probably feeds into his low critic ranking compared to some of the more recent actors we've looked at that had some really trash movies.
Well, and low budget horror is not the way you want to go if you're trying to get good fan and critic rankings.
For sure.
No, kind of sets him up for failure. He's right down the middle of our Munson Meter.
Which is surprising to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's higher than I thought it was going to be.
We'll see if that Munson Meter lines up in the same way in the back end, Case.
See.
TBD. We'll talk a little bit about the early life of Brad Dourif. James did a good job. He kind of laid the groundwork for this. So born Bradford Dourif in Huntington, West Virginia. His mother was an actress. His father passed away in 1953. A few years after that, he attended school in South Carolina, and he had a brief stint as a flower arranger before he got into acting. So everybody's got a weird story of one of their first jobs. That was one of his. It looked like he first got into the film space with a short film that he put in to the Fountain Valley Film Festival in 1969. He got second place in the 8mm film category. Being a director early on, directing a film versus just going into the space as an actor, I thought that was kind of unique.
With his mom being an actress, he said, like, watching her even in West Virginia just do like community theater was what inspired him to even get into the arts. He's like, oh, you can just do this for your life. That's crazy. Like, I'm very fascinated by this. And especially when you struggle so much with school, which is, you know, how you're kind of conditioned at a young age to figure out what you want to do, being like, I'm just going to do what looks like playing and having fun all day. I'm going to do that.
Short stint at Marshall University before obviously dropping out and moving to New York City to pursue acting and pursue the entertainment space. While in New York, lots of off-Broadway theater. So he started in the theater side, and I think you see a lot of it in his acting over the years too. And so he's doing a bunch of performances, Ryder, When You Comin Back. I read that that's how he was discovered by the director of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Saw him at a performance and was like, hey, you'd be good for the picture, because that movie's, as we'll talk about here in a moment, is a lot of like unknown young actors at that time. He was in WW in the Dixie Dancekings. He had an uncredited role, but he was actually omitted from the film. Just when you think your career is getting off in a certain way, they cut your character, which can't feel great in your first film role. But let's talk about coming out of the gate. Case always likes to talk about actors with a first major role, that the Holly Hunters of the world that made an impact. Well, I'm excited to hear James talk about his role as Billy Bibbit in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, a film from 1975 that got him a Golden Globe win, BAFTA nom, and an Oscar nom for his first major film role.
Yeah, so I am actually prepared to talk about this for the remainder of the podcast. I have at least 30 minutes of a dissertation written about this movie. But what I'll do is, since I'll bounce it off you guys to kind of talk about his performance, I definitely want to give background on the movie because I find it incredibly fascinating. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest is based on a book from 1962 by a writer named Ken Casey. It's actually inspired by his time truly working in a mental health facility. It became an instant hit, and a Broadway play that was starring Kirk Douglas, who loved the book so much that he bought the rights for it and starred in the play. Like, could not have immediately saw the vision on this book. Douglas actually originally planned to star in the movie, but by the time the movie was ready, which was 12 years later, he was too old for the lead. The reason it took 12 years to make this movie is because it faced endless challenges: casting, screenplay, director, budget, legal battles. Jack Nicholson, potentially his most iconic role, he was the fifth choice for the lead. There was actually a mix-up in sending this book to the director which caused a decade-long delay. Milos Forman took it like incredibly personal, but really was like lost in the mail. The writer of the book wrote the screenplay, but the director rejected it based off of kind of artistic differences on, the movie being true to the book. And it actually got so nasty that they had to go to court and settle. And so they had to pay him like fully to be released from the movie. Because of all this turmoil and complete lack of like clarity of artistic vision with Kirk Douglas, he couldn't get anyone to produce this movie. So what he did was he brought in his young son, Michael Douglas. I don't know if you ever heard of him. And they couldn't get anyone to like help with the $3 million budget that Case had mentioned. So they got a record studio who at that point only had 2 successful artists on their label. One, Vince Guaraldi, the guy who writes the music for the Peanuts and Charlie Brown stuff. And 2 is a Creedence Clearwater Revival.
CCR.
So that's the people who funded this movie. It took 12 years. After these 12 years of struggles, the result was one of the most successful movies of all time. It's one of only 3 to win all 5 major Academy Awards. That's Best Picture, Actor, Actress, Director, and Screenplay. Became one of the highest grossing films of its time and is considered one of the greatest movies ever made. And it was a father and son who read a book and were like, let's just fucking do this. Like, there's got to be a way we can make this happen. This is one of those movies that I thought the first time I saw it, I was going to hate it. It looks dated on the cover. It's long. No one really explains what it's about that well. It's very vague in the description. I was like, oh my God, this is going to be terrible. But this is the second time I've watched it, and I've loved it both times. The story follows a character named Mick Murphy, who's played by Jack Nicholson, who fakes being insane to avoid serving time in prison. He's serving time in prison for statutory rape and aggravated assault. It's pretty clear from the jump that he's a piece of shit. He believes life in the mental institution is going to be easier than life behind bars. The movie makes it very clear that that's his intention. What I love about this film is how it unfolds. For the first half, it doesn't tell you what to think or what its point is. You just meet the characters, you observe their behaviors, and some of the situations are like surprisingly funny. It's clear that McMurphy actually likes the other patients, even though, they're mentally ill. He kind of decides he's going to fuck with the head nurse to show off a little bit, also just to bust her balls in like the classic like rebel against authority kind of way. And then about halfway through, this movie gradually reveals itself as like one of the most forward-thinking and emotionally complex movies I've ever seen. It explores oppression and human rights and how our society falls apart kind of at the seams when, institutional power and authority is prioritized and order is what people want instead of actually helping people. It puts you in a weird spot as a viewer where you are like rooting for a protagonist that is a criminal rapist who is consistently putting mentally ill men in situations where they are dangerous to themselves and others. The only thing he's actually right about is that the antagonist in this movie isn't looking out for everyone's best interests. And the antagonist in this movie is slowly revealed. She's soft-spoken, calm, and she's the head nurse, Nurse Ratched. She's considered the hospital's best, so much so that she like advises the doctors and law enforcement on how to manage patients. And you never see her really raise her voice. All she really cares about is maintaining order and being fair in her eyes, and is considered one of the most chillingly evil characters ever. And she's mentioned alongside Hannibal Lecter and Darth Vader. All the actors in this crush their roles. There's so much subtlety to their performances. And the movie itself is like, it's bittersweet. You experience triumph and despair at the same time. It's not like a simple good versus evil. It's more complex, which is crazy for a movie that was like in the early 70s. This actually becomes, I think, in my mind, the most clear when it comes to how Mick Murphy and Louise Fletcher, who plays Nurse Ratched, both of which won Academy Awards for their performances, how they treat Billy, which is Brad Dourif's character, which he was nominated for an Academy Award for his performance. I think what Jack Nicholson does to his character is he thinks he's being helpful, and it does help a little bit. Is it appropriate? Absolutely not. But it becomes clear that Nurse Ratched knows exactly how to force his character to regress. The character that Dourif plays is someone who's clearly been abused by his mother and has issues with controlling his emotions and has a bad stutter, attempted suicide multiple times. And you just start to slowly realize, like, man, that way the nurse kind of talks is like a little inappropriate. Like, I don't know. And then by the end of it, you're like, I want to fucking kill her. Like, I hope they kill her. Like, and at no point does she like really scream or like do outwardly like what you associate as evil things, but they are evil. And it comes to a head with Dourif's performance. I can't say enough about this movie. It impresses me every time I watch it. And I think all the performances in it are incredible.
I think that was spectacularly done.
Agreed.
A really beautiful dissertation for a film that deserves it.
I watched, I was like, I got to sit down and get to writing here.
This isn't a horror film, but I definitely consider it in that wheelhouse. And especially with Nurse Ratched, like one of the most iconic and horrifying villains in all of cinema in a film that's not a horror film. It's mesmerizing. It's just a spectacular film with a bunch of unknowns. And it's like, when you talk about that history, it's insane that you get what you get. The calm is horrifying.
Exactly.
I can't be rattled. She feels fully in control all the time. And it's terrifying.
I think Brad Dourif is remarkable in his role. To come out of the gate to play a character who has a stutter, that's a challenge to not become a caricature in itself.
Yeah.
Character story is obviously extremely tragic, not to spoil necessarily anything for folks who haven't seen it. But the way he goes from 0 to 100, his last scene where he's being pulled away, you get to see some early Dourif and some of that like manic energy that you get with Chucky and some of his other roles you see throughout his career.
He finally, gets laid. The stutter's gone. He's confident. Everyone's all proud of him. And she checks him in 20 seconds to the point where he has a meltdown. Well, what would your mother feel about this? And it's immediately like he becomes a child again and loses his mind. God, this woman sucks. She sucks so bad. It's also the first role of not only Brad Dourif, but Danny DeVito and Christopher Lloyd, both of which fantastic in their roles.
There's an explanation as to why I didn't get to it. I'm really upset by it. James hard sold this in a way that I've never heard anyone kind of sell this movie to me before. I've known that I need to watch it, but I have never heard anyone make a case like that.
Yeah.
So I went from like, I'll watch this eventually to, I have to watch this now.
It's pretty incredible. I'm glad I didn't spoil anything then, knowing that.
Yeah.
It's a film full of acting heavyweights, and Brad Dourif does an incredible job on top of all that for his first ever movie that he didn't get cut from. Pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you're listening, you haven't seen this, go watch it. Do yourself the favor. It's phenomenal.
So good.
So talk about starting off with a bang, coming out, getting an Oscar nomination. That's got to do something for your ego and expectations for your career when you come out of the gate like that. His next big movie, it was 1978. It was a movie called Eyes of Laura Mars. He played Tommy. This is like the next one I was going to get to that I didn't have time to get to, but it's got a great cast.
I thought this movie had a ton of promise. I thought the acting was maybe a little bit over the top. I could never settle in to really enjoy it as a like supernatural type thriller that I think it was aimed to be.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, the premise is the main character,
Faye Dunaway,
she starts having these visions of people getting killed, and they're all her friends. And so she's trying to kind of figure out who the killer is through the visions that she's having. And the police consider her a suspect because she knows too many details.
did you see who one of the writers was?
No.
Just from tying into our horror theme, John Carpenter was one of the writers.
Yes, I did, yeah.
I know a few of us watched Wise Blood from 1979, a John Huston film. This is his first big lead role as a man who decides he wants to be a street preacher and runs into some small-time hustler street preachers and has a whole different experience.
So I thought his performance was good. I thought the story was unique. I just could not connect with the movie itself. I know this is critically acclaimed, but for me, I was like, wow, that's a good performance. This is an interesting story. And maybe it was like the pacing. This is the issue I run into with older movies and my ADD is the meandering of a story. I'm just like, all right, I think I'm going to stop watching this soon, even though I think he's doing well. One thing I did make a comment, though, is easily the ugliest sex worker I've ever seen in a movie is in this movie. It was like they consciously chose to make someone who I don't think someone would pay to sleep with, and they put it on in this movie. And I was like, what an interesting choice for someone who's a preacher to do.
A sex worker who is with a guy who's pretending to be blind as a street preacher, just living the dream.
Right.
I saw part of it. I started it and wasn't able to finish it. I didn't dislike it. I wasn't super connected to it. I do think the story is interesting. I think his performance is good. Some performances at that time, though, can be a little odd. So it'll go from like really quiet to really loud, really fast.
Yeah.
And it's just jarring. I would finish the movie. I was kind of into it.
Would you say it's more sound mixing or just the actors with their volumes?
The way characters talk to each other feels unnatural in a way that it feels very like actory, like old movies can be. And so, he's shouting for reasons that sometimes it don't make any sense. So it's just like, it's an odd quirk of the time.
No, and looking at his career, as we'll talk about, there's not a whole lot of times when he is the lead. I mean, there's some. We'll talk about a few of those roles, but he doesn't play a lead a ton. He's a supporting character in a lot of his films, and then obviously he's the voice acting in some pretty prominent horror films. But from like mainstream non-horror, I know it was critically well received, but you don't see a slew of leading roles for him after this film, which is interesting. Ragtime, 1981, another movie I didn't get a chance to get to, but another movie that's got good reviews. He plays the younger brother in that. But that's one that people tend to talk about with his performances. So he's been married twice in his life. He married Stephanie Charmatz and Janina Bernice Dourif. Earlier for our birthday segment, if you had just cheated with the show notes and you would have saw that Fiona Dourif was born in 1981 during one of his marriages, you would have got the answer you needed for the birthday stuff. But I'm proud of you all for not using the cheat sheet.
Cheaters don't win and winners don't cheat. So.
After these roles, during the time in the early 80s, he's teaching acting in theater in New York City, and he was doing that until 1988. A note, and we'll talk about when we get to the Chucky films, is Don Mancini was one of his students while he was teaching acting in New York City. Kind of flared me up to go, what led to that connection later, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But before we get to that, 1984's Dune. We talked about this briefly on the Max von Sydow episode. It's a David Lynch film. He's done a number of David Lynch films throughout the years, and one of those prominent directors he's worked with. I finally did get around to watching this Dune for the first time. What a special experience if you guys have not seen it.
I've definitely seen it.
Didn't David Lynch try to get his name out of this?
I don't think I can watch this movie.
Why?
I say this with the utmost respect, and I mean this. I know there are Dune heads that love this movie. Every time I've seen anything about it, the first thing that goes through my mind is, yuck, I don't want to watch this. Even if I watched it, I don't even know how productive it would be. I don't know if this is how it is with everybody. This is just one of those movies that's stuck in my mind that's like, I will never like this.
I love how you say, with the utmost respect, yuck.
I find it hard to isolate this from the other Dune projects we've had since then, because like Denis Villeneuve stuff is so phenomenal, and the way they take the story, and we're going obviously into part 3 here shortly, but it is far more eccentric, Aubrey, than anything that's been done since in terms of how it interprets the characters.
Which is funny because like eccentricity doesn't necessarily turn me off, but I do think that is what is in part turning me off in this. And I know that this will be to my great demise. I'm not the biggest David Lynch fan.
No.
This one I'm saving for the future when I've evolved and become a better, more complete person. Right now, I'm broken. I've failed.
You're not there.
So I can't do it. I have to become better to be able to experience this.
Brad Dourif's character, Piter, is, if I remember correctly, Stephanie, he's one of the Harkonnens. And Marvel, Thanos, who's the guy who puts the needles into Doctor Strange's body and head to try to get him to extract the time stone. He's like that guy, but for the Harkonnens. That's the best way I can, of course, like a mad doctor. Stephanie, is that accurate?
Yeah, causing nefarious things behind the scenes and putting the pieces in place.
Google image his character and you'll see he looks very eccentric in that role. This is the one crossover between those two actors from Stephanie in her guest appearances.
People ride hard for this. This is one of Dourif's most beloved, iconic roles. And I looked it up and he's in it 7 minutes total.
Not much. Yeah.
Which I think is just phenomenal that you can be in a movie that little and make such a huge impact. That's kind of amazing.
Yeah, he doesn't have a ton of screen time.
I would have been so mad if I watched this. And he was in it for 7 minutes. I would have been so mad.
It's 7 or 8.
You at least walk away saying you've finally seen the original Dune, and that's worthwhile, I think. So after that, he's in 6 different shows between 86 and 89. Spencer for Hire, Miami Vice, Number One New Show, The Equalizer, Murder, She Wrote. A lot of big shows there in the 80s he's in, as he's making some TV show appearances. 86, another David Lynch film, this time Blue Velvet. David Lynch loved working with Kyle MacLachlan in the 80s, is what I learned. Brad Dourif plays one of Dennis Hopper's goons in this movie, named Raymond. Very little screen time. Stephanie, I assume you've seen Blue Velvet as well?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think he's in it much at all. It's been a while.
Not a ton. Even less screen time, I think, and less lines in this one.
Yeah.
Interesting movie. I liked it, especially the end. I was like, holy crap. I think it does what David Lynch does well is he sets you up with these absurd premises, and then he brings it all together in a really awkward way for you as a viewer where you're like, oh shit, things are going down. Like, that's Blue Velvet as a film. The discovery of a severed human ear found in a field leads a young man on an investigation related to a beautiful, mysterious nightclub singer and a group of psychopathic criminals who have kidnapped her child.
You can't read synopsises for David Lynch films. It's just, it doesn't work.
No.
It's not how it works.
I'm going to say, I'm not an expert here, but I'm about 1,000% sure that's not what this movie is about.
It's got one of Laura Dern's first roles. She plays a very main character in the film. I would recommend this well over Dune, personally, but that's just my personal perspective. Stephanie may have a different one.
No, Blue Velvet's great, but I'm a Lynch head, so take that for what it's worth.
Mississippi Burning, 1988, alongside Willem Dafoe and Stephen Tobolowsky, plays Deputy Pell. Important role.
His character isn't probably that important to the plot, but it's super important to how we view Gene Hackman.
Mm-hmm.
And Francis McDormand.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
He's kind of the sheriff that establishes what it's really like to live there.
Yeah.
We get to see what the cops are really like there.
He's a big old piece of shit.
Which is a thankless role.
He doesn't do the crimes, but he allows the crimes to happen.
To get into character, put him into a depression for
I would imagine.
a while. Like, he's like, I think he mentioned, I saw Francis McDormand after makeup and, we're eating lunch before we do our scene. And it's the scene where he beats her. And he's like, I trying to emotionally connect to a character that does this. Like, can I emotionally connect to that? And it like made him self-evaluate himself in a way where I don't want to be good at being someone who can do this. And which is interesting because of, the next role we'll discuss.
Yep. Super interesting for the future prospects of his career.
Yeah.
He brings up a point, though, that I think about all the time. How do you do that? How do you be a character like that? Like, how do you suit up and work that way for a long time? Because it's got to have mental wear and tear that we just don't see.
Roy Woods, the comedian, has such a funny bit on it in which he says, it's like, to tell the true history of our country and the horrors that have taken place. He's like, you need to have white actors who are comfortable playing the most racist piece of shits on earth. He's like, and they need to be acknowledged as good actors. He's like Leonardo DiCaprio. It's like called Samuel Jackson an N-word to his face in front of Jamie Foxx. He's like, that's an ally. He's like, that's a hero. That man put his life on the line to tell that story.
Yeah, it's the Michael Fassbender in 12 Years a Slave situation.
Yeah.
He's so good. You're like, do you own slaves? Like, is this?
I want to check your search history.
Yeah.
It's like Michael Rooker in this movie. You're like, what was your prep for that? Like, I've got questions.
Michael Rooker in all movies.
Michael Rooker's sweet spot.
Yeah, interesting role. But let's get to the main reason we're here. The reason we know Brad Dourif is not because of necessarily Mississippi Burning, Blue Velvet, Dune, and all those, even though those are memorable in their own right. It's because of his voice role as Chucky in Child's Play, Charles Lee Ray from 1988, where it all started.
This movie's good. It's the second best one in the whole franchise, in my opinion. I think it's good because it captures a real, genuine fear. It takes a very simple idea and makes it really scary. So the analogy I'll use is a battle rapper came up with this great line that every single person remembers that watches battle. It's like one of the greatest lines ever. And he said he wrote that line when he was getting in his car trying to put his seatbelt on. And this is the same thing. It's like somebody was just sitting there with their kid playing with a doll and then took a real life thing. Like my son comes to me and is like, yeah, Spider-Man told me this. And now I can't look at him the same.
Yep.
And I think that's like a brilliant way to set up a horror movie, especially one that's this kind of campy and weird.
The first one holds up. I think what makes the initial part of it so scary is it's happened before. People have done, Talking Tina, Twilight Zone, like killer toys had been a thing before.
Mm-hmm.
I think two parts of it really got me. One is the way everyone honestly commits to treating the kid and the mom like they're fucking crazy. I think that is a good way to kind of ground the story that is clearly over the top, where it's like, oh yeah, doll did this. Miss, we're arresting your son. He killed the babysitter and you need to go to a hospital. You're losing your mind. And then the other aspect of it is how fucking jarring the change from him being a doll to the just disgusting words he uses. Like the first words you hear him speak as Chucky, she's like, does this even have like batteries in it? And then when he turns from a doll into this psycho, it's like, I'll kill you, you bitch. And I'm like, oh my God. It is a great jump scare for sure.
It's a brilliant conceit, and it's one of the best aspects of the Chucky franchise in general, but this movie also is like, they're allowed to get away with Brad Dourif saying wild things because he says it as Chucky.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because if he says it as the way that he looks, it's just gross. It's not funny. It's scary. It's gross. It's like, I don't want to watch this or be around it. When Chucky says it, there is something that's funny about it most of the time. The same way that like you hear people cuss or little kids cuss, it's funny sometimes. It's the same thing. And they use that as a way to like disarm you. It's brilliant. It's a really smart way to go about something like this. One thing that makes this movie better than the rest of them is the restraint that they show in the sense of how many people find out Chucky is real and when they find it out.
Yeah.
It's so easy to break that tension and just have him do something that would be really scary or interesting in that moment, and it would blow the whole thing. And we see it all throughout the franchise. And this one, no. You get to the end of that movie and you're like, actually, this is really the only cause of action that anybody could reasonably take. No one could reasonably show up here and be like, yeah, the doll did it.
Yeah.
I think that makes it scarier. The idea that things are happening that you're trying to explain and no one believes you.
Mm-hmm.
The success of The Invisible Man with Elizabeth Moss is like, I can't explain to you what's happening because I'm the only one seeing it.
Yeah. No one believes kids, and definitely no one believes women. And you've got a woman and a child, and people are like, nope.
Yeah.
Brad Dourif, legendary voice role. I genuinely don't know if anybody else could do what he does with Chucky, starting off with this film.
Mm-mm.
And he got this role because the writer was a student of his?
Don Mancini didn't even know he was auditioning. The director had reached out to Dourif. It was independent of it.
Oh, okay.
Like, he didn't know Mancini was involved in the project, because that's my initial thought. I was like, oh shit, Don had him as a teacher. Hey, I'll bring this guy in. He didn't even know until he was cast in the role, essentially.
And then all of a sudden you're like, how come no one told me you were here? Like,
he probably was just like, oh shit, yeah, he would be great at that.
Yeah.
I just think it's so fascinating because if you ask everyone, especially all horror fans, if you say the name Brad Dourif, everyone thinks Chucky, and it's all about that voice. But then you watch his filmography and he's got like one of the most expressive faces I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And this beautiful physicality and these amazing eyes. And like, he's so good in front of the camera, but he's most known for being unseen and just being a voice. And I think that's just really interesting and phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. There's not many more actors we've covered in 126 episodes that are as expressive as he is.
Sure.
And what's wild about this, too, is every Chucky roll-up, until Bride of Chucky, when he started to work with Jennifer Tilly, he recorded his stuff first by himself.
Yeah.
In a room, which is crazy to me.
Imagine how hard that is to do.
It's got to be so hard.
Like, voice actors, they don't get enough credit.
No.
Maybe we talked about this with Doug Jones. Like, they just don't get enough credit.
Agreed. Have you ever seen a video of him recording the voice?
No.
Yeah.
I haven't.
It's really fun. Yeah. It's because it's very theatrical, and just like all his roles. And
he talked about how exciting he was in Bride of Chucky and Seed because he could actually have somebody in the booth with him with Jennifer Tilly, and he could act off them. Because before that, he'd record all his lines, And then they would basically have the doll say those things during scenes. So they had to pre-record everything so that the actors in those scenes are reacting to actual Brad Dourif lines from Chucky. So it feels as real as it can be. But yeah, he just recorded in isolation. He's doing this incredible work by himself. It's so fascinating. And as we talk about Chucky, my favorite part of Chucky is the meta stuff and the funny. And so the one glimpse of funny you get in this is when the old people are talking shit to him on the elevator and it starts going up and he goes, "Fuck you." And I'm like, that's
my favorite scene too of all time. Yeah.
That's the one.
It's so good. Iconic.
All right. Anything else on Child's Play before we keep going?
Child's Play 2. Is that what's next?
No, before that, there's the legendary film Spontaneous Combustion from 1989 where he plays Sam.
Oh.
Because he's spontaneously combusting and he's learning he's part of a government experiment.
I watched Spontaneous. Of course.
Hell yeah, you did. What do you think?
I'm not going to sit here and say it's the greatest film ever, but I had fun with it.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It's not a good movie, but I like the effects. I like what they did with the combustion stuff. Like 15 minutes in, this girl has a baby and immediately I was like, I'm locked in. This movie's dumb. I love it. Let's go.
It's stupid, yeah, but it's fun, yeah.
He's a lead in that, so, just throwing it out there. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Low budget horror. But Child's Play 2. Chucky returns. He buries Tommy under a pile of dirt. Eat dirt, Tommy. I know James and Aubrey have thoughts on this as parents. I think has the best end scene of any Child's Play movie in the toy factory.
This movie's less good. That's where I'll start.
Seconded.
I think it's the most terrifying looking Chucky. The doll itself is terrifying looking, I would say, comparatively. But
another movie that decided that we're going to just absolutely take a dump on fostering children and then wonder why no one fosters children in the broken society that we live in. I mean, the movie's fine. You can see some evolution of it. I like the factory ending to an extent. It's a little long for me. When you go to the well of the killer doesn't die too many times, I get frustrated. The thing I like the most is that we start the movie with hey, no one believed this kid or the mom. And it was just I just find that to be great. No one believed him. And then it's hey, we're going to taunt you now. And then you just ran. It's just...
Poor for you. Tommy's gone, Chucky's here, and this kid is fucked.
In horror circles, 2 is typically... People tend to like it better than the rest of them. It tends to be the top choice.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I do find that fascinating. My bottom quarter of the...
Wow.
I think 1 is... one set the standard and an iconic movie. It just felt like this was a more muted experience where it's what if we did it just less as enjoyable as we did it the first time? I think it bottomed out in the next one. I think the third is probably my least favorite.
I agree with you. 3 is the worst one of all the...
Whoa.
Personally.
Child's Play 3 had an indelible effect on a developing young Aubrey McKay.
Scared you in paintball?
We can't skip over funny Chucky before we get to Child's Play 3.
Never played paintball in my life.
Stephanie, why is Child's Play 2 regarded so highly in the horror community?
Bigger sequels, going harder, being a little bit more crazy. People, especially weirdos like me, tend to really like that in horror films, where it's just the sequel's always just a little bit crazier and nuttier. And this is such a nutty franchise that leading into that is super fun.
I would imagine when they were making this, they felt like they got away with something. Because that first one, if you read the pitch that they probably gave the studio on that first movie, they were one and done. And they're we get a second one? In fact, I think the second and third movie, I think they got greenlit at the same time.
They did. They filmed them back to back.
To know that they got a sequel to that first one, I bet you they're feeling pretty good when they were making this.
Yeah, you're do whatever the hell you want, open season.
Yeah.
Chase's point about them feeling like they got away with something, I'm assuming he means an absolutely ridiculous premise. And my wife will not watch these movies because she cannot get past it.
You can't sell someone on that if they're not will. He puts his soul into a doll and he kills people. But all right, I can't.
A lot of voodoo.
And it's just like the perfect blend of comedy and horror. And that's so hard to do and get it right and be campy, but also be scary and be super fun and iconic. It's kind of everything.
I cannot wait till we get to the later sequels of this. I cannot wait.
I was going to say, it's not there yet.
Right, of Chucky.
It becomes that. In this point in the journey, it was not there.
So, best lines, series starts to get a little bit more self-aware. Obviously, one, eat dirt, Tommy, as he's burying Tommy. Fantastic. And two, my favorite is when Phil has slipped coming down the stairs and he's about to fall on his neck. Chucky goes, "How's it hanging, Phil?" Fucking breaks the tension. Makes me laugh every time.
Made me laugh just you saying it.
How's it hanging, Phil?
And Dourif, his ability to deliver these lines it's so good. Brad Dourif's so good in this.
It's so good.
Shout out to the doll operators for contorting his face.
This is what's great. His picture, just Brad Dourif saying it to him.
Yes.
Not as effective.
All right, let's not laugh at lowest critic score, which is a film called Graveyard Shift, a Stephen King adaptation. Case has it, The Exterminator. Should Stephen King be disappointed at this? Because I think he should.
It's a 1990 horror film, and it was based on the 1970 short story by Stephen King. Coming off the conversation we're having about Child's Play, it just makes this feel even more unremarkable. I didn't think the cast was very good. I didn't think that the story editing and the direction was very good. It felt like they had a made-for-TV movie that they tried to get by everybody.
Yeah, it's a pile of shit. It's awful.
Brad Dourif plays the exterminator who's hired to eradicate this intense rat infestation in the basement of this textile mill. I don't know. Can we move on? It wasn't very good.
We sure can. It's one that he probably wishes is not on his filmography for him and Stephen King.
My only question is, has Stephen King written anything that has not been adapted?
Probably not.
I don't know.
You're going to have some misses in there, somewhere along the way, I guess.
It does keep up our streak of being disappointed in Stephen King stories turned into movies.
Yep.
The theater of mind in this does not translate into the theater of vision.
Question for you, Stephanie. You and I watched a lot of bad horror films to prep for this.
Yeah.
Did you watch anything worse than this? Because I didn't. This was the worst thing I watched.
No chance. You watched The Wizard of Gore.
Oh, I watched The Wizard of Gore too. Oh, I did. Probably objectively, perhaps Ginger Clown, even though I love the shit out of Ginger Clown. So.
Oh, no. Ginger Clown at least has some redeeming value with those puppets saying the most ridiculous shit.
Well, it's so bad. It's good. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, this is not good. But I was hoping for a dissertation on this film, so I am a little disappointed that we didn't get a poetic ode.
Case isn't going to give you that.
That's how bad it is. Mm-hmm. It's so bad that it couldn't even make Case angry.
No.
Those are the worst kind of movies.
That is the worst, yeah, when it's just meh.
I just found myself uncommonly disinterested in this movie. Like, I normally can, sink my teeth into bad movies, and it's just
Yeah.
We got some cool projects to talk about with Brad.
We do.
Let's focus on those.
Did anybody else watch Hidden Agenda? Not a horror flick. I mean, horror, I guess, if you consider the IRA a horror and what happened in Northern Ireland and the UK, alongside Francis McDormand again, plays Paul, an investigative journalist, finds himself reaching a very sad end about halfway through the film.
I have not seen this one. Is it worth checking out?
Good flick.
Yeah.
It's one of those movies where it does not leave you with a happy ending. Brian Cox plays the British investigator who's brought in to kind of explore this, and the movie just kind of explores corruption and what's going on politically during the unrest dealing with the IRA. And it leaves you in a, sorry, there's nothing we can do because of who all the political players that are going on with this conflict between these two sides. So
I should have watched this.
It's a good flick. Francis McDormand's great in it. Brad Dourif gets whacked early in the film. His character getting whacked is central to what's going on and unraveling the mystery of why it happened.
It's funny, all these films he's in that aren't really horror films, but are about real life horror. And so you could kind of almost say that it's most of his filmography is in some way horrific.
Drama and horror.
Yeah, it's one of the few roles where he's not playing a bad guy, just plays a normal journalist.
I'd watch this. I need to add this to my watch list.
What I've noticed in all his attempts to cross over into some more of the drama ones, I find him interestingly eccentric as an actor and how he performs.
Yeah.
I don't think that lends itself naturally to some of the drama roles he's played. I think it helps him in all the horror roles or suspense roles that he's played.
Sure.
As he continues to get angled in, and why he ends up on our Halloween episode is to be prolific in these horror movies. I think that's his wheelhouse. I think he's a good actor. I don't think his style of acting lends itself great to dramas.
You don't get to see much of it in this role. It's pretty subdued because the character has to be.
An interesting point, Case. I like that.
Case, does that apply to The Exorcist 3, the Gemini Killer from 1990?
Oh, my God.
His role in this is the Gemini Killer, who is more or less the reincarnate of the original demon. He's splitting screen time with the original priest from The Exorcist. Why didn't they just have the original priest the whole time?
Because Brad Dourif is like freaking phenomenal in this scene. That's like my favorite performance he does.
This is one of his like most noteworthy performances that people talk about.
I love it so much.
I liked everything about it. I was just confused as to like the character switch between.
They're showing his possession, basically. It's like, the dude that he really is, and then it's the spirit that's inside of him becomes personified through Brad Dourif. So they're like two people in the same body. And so when the demon's speaking, you get Brad Dourif. Yeah.
Yeah, he was great in it. In my daily life, things happen all the time that I'm just not smart enough to understand. This is what happened when I was watching this movie, because I enjoyed this movie and the way the story carried on from the original. I did not expect to see the main character, George C. Scott. This is one of the first movies I could recall they use elderly people to be super creepy.
Mm-hmm.
And they did a nice job with it.
And like one of the most famous jump scares of all time is in this movie.
Which one?
In the hospital, the like nurse scene. It's so good. This movie rocks my socks. I love this movie.
I enjoyed it.
Case, I did read on the IMDb trivia about that whole situation. It said Brad Dourif mentioned that the reason why Jason Miller was unavailable to reprise his role originally as Karras is because he was a severe alcoholic and had developed wet brain, is what they called it. So this meant he could not memorize the 2 long monologues. Dourif crushes his monologues while he's he
does.
inside the prison. And so he says this led him to sharing the role with Miller in the theatrical cut, where Dourif would recite the monologues while Miller could handle the shorter lines.
Okay.
So they kind of accommodated him based on his mental state.
It's funny how many times, like, you have to do something because of necessity and it ends up making the film so much better accidentally. Because I think that split really works and is really powerful. If it wasn't planned, that's even more intriguing to me.
That's super interesting.
And you talk about expressive face. His still for the promotions of this film, his face is wild, out of control.
And I feel like he's impossible not to be sympathetic. And so even when he's like a psychopath, he's sympathetic, which makes it even more terrifying. And
let's return to the Child's Play world. 1991, Child's Play 3. This time we're going to military camp. This time we're changing out paintballs for bullets, and we're going to throw Chucky into a amusement park wheel thing to slice and dice him. Thoughts? Sounds like Aubrey enjoys this. I'm not one. I think this is the worst.
Oh, that's not exactly what I said.
Enjoy is a strong term.
I said it made a serious impact on me. For whatever reason, I saw all the originals pretty early. This one I remember the most. It's one of those movies, for whatever reason, where certain sequences were just stuck in my head. Them playing
agreed.
Hide the Soul at the beginning. I just remember that. I remember the paintball thing. I think that alone, him switching out the paintballs for real bullets, makes this movie worth it. It got an extra 1.5 stars on my letterbox just because of that. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I think it is absolutely brilliant. I think his reaction to it is amazing. And I think the fact that they had the restraint to make it function as if that's how it really happened. They were slow to realize it, but not too slow. The rest of the movie is an absolute abomination, and none of it makes any sense. It's the funniest that I think he probably is up until this point.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I have affection for this movie the same way I have affection for Pinocchio's Revenge, because I saw it at the right time.
Formative moments. 2 iconically funny moments from Chucky in this. First off, presto, you dead. One of his best one-liners as he slices and dices the guy. And then 2, when he's about to kill the guy who runs it and he has a heart attack and he goes, "You gotta be fucking kidding me." One of the best. Great line.
Let's just do this all night. This is fun.
Even in Living with Chucky, the documentary, they went out of their way to not trash this movie. They mentioned 2 things. They mentioned how meta Chucky gets and the bullets thing.
the writer of this movie says this is the worst of the franchise. Like, Don Mancini's outspoken. He's like, yeah, this one, sorry, my bad.
This is not my worst.
Oh, real?
The teaser.
Would you watch Critters 4?
Yes.
With him and Angela Bassett?
Yes.
Basically Supernova redone. I thought I was watching Supernova with Angela Bassett. I was like, oh shit, when are the critters coming in? Oh, now they're here, finally.
I've never seen
Is
any
that
of
the critters in space?
Yes.
Yeah. It's
The very
Critters in
same
space.
case.
You remember which actor we covered in Critters 3?
DiCaprio.
Yeah, Leo.
Leo, that's right. So I was like, Critters 4, fuck yeah. Critters don't show up forever. They're in space. Angela Bassett's there. I'm like, girl, did you just leave the Supernova set? Just come straight over to Critters 4? Like, what's going on here? It's a bad movie, but also fun.
Mm-hmm.
The Critters movies are exactly what you expect them to be. It's like a time capsule of the 80s and early 90s and B horror movies.
Wasn't it supposed to be like the scary version of Gremlin?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go out on a limb and say that didn't work.
No. It does not. That is correct.
Stephanie, based on your laugh, did I oversimplify that?
No, it's funny. Everybody's like, yep, mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep,
That
happened.
They're like,
Is this a hole in my movie history that I need to fill?
Yes.
you should do one of them for sure. You'll get the gist of all of them if you do one of them.
Dourif plays this pretty straight.
Yeah.
In this one, by the way, another one.
I think my favorite part of it is when the initial shock of being like, well, this thing's like the size of like a squirrel. Like, it's not a problem. And then everyone has the same reaction, like, oh shit, there's so fucking many of these things. Every time.
You want to drink and watch a bad horror film? Throw a Critters film on. You'll have a good time.
Yeah.
Don't put this movie on an airplane. I almost made this mistake. Final Judgment plays Father Tyrone, 1991. Case's response in the group text was, that movie is gross. And boy, is he right.
Case's response made me not watch it.
I should probably preface my criticisms of this movie with the fact that I was hoping it would be more of a procedural of the priesthood and crime solving. No, it wasn't. It was an odd film.
You know, it's a priest who's got to go in the underground. He's got to sleep with some strippers. He's got to figure out what's happening to catch this killer who's that loose. If you're a man of the cloth, you do the same thing. I know what you're talking about.
In a moment of weakness, fathered a child that I didn't acknowledge for 20 years, like I was her priest that cared about her, and I sat there and looked at a naked painting of her all the time. Yeah, that's exactly how I would handle the situation.
Wait, this sounds great. Is this a must-see that I need to...
It's not.
I mean, it's Brad Dourif as the lead, as a priest, investigating, sitting there getting confessions, and all of a sudden he's like, end of confession. I have to track your ass down.
Nice.
My favorite part of this movie is Brad Dourif acting like a total hard ass.
Yeah, that's true. It's an odd choice.
It's really entertaining. But I forgot something about The Exorcist earlier. Did anybody else pick up on his little wink and nod to his filmography?
Yes.
Yeah, he's in the middle of talking to George C. Scott, and he goes, really, this is child's play.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
I screamed out loud. I was like, oh my God, yes.
Do you feel like Leo DiCaprio in the meme? Like,
I squealed, yeah. I'm like...
It was very good. In this particular movie, I did enjoy him in it. I thought he was entertaining, even though he was a priest and he was half the size of everybody that he was going after.
I'm looking at the poster, and he looks very intense. Like, he's giving a very intense look to the camera.
oh.
Do I have this right? His name is Tyrone?
Yep, Father Tyrone.
Yeah, I'm out.
God.
All right.
Yeah, just don't watch it in school, Aubrey. You'd have a hard time going to school. There's a lot of nudity.
Yeah. It would have been me on a plane going like, no neighbor's going to see that. That's bad. A lot of strippers. 93 to 96, he was in one episode each of Tales from the Crypt, Star Trek Voyager, and X-Files. Two of those shows makes a lot of sense. But since we're going to get to Lord of the Rings here shortly, Star Trek Voyager probably makes sense too.
Oh my God. Have you guys seen the X-Files episode he's in?
No.
Tell us.
It's widely considered one of the best episodes of X-Files ever. It's one of the kind of standalone episodes where you could watch it even if you haven't seen any of the rest of the series, and it makes sense. It's very encapsulated.
That's why we bring you on.
But it's Brad Dourif, and he's on death row, and he is claiming to be a psychic. And, they're trying to figure out if he's full of crap, if he's just trying to get off death row, what's going on. And it's very Silence of the Lambs, where he's trying to help them solve another serial killer's murder and save someone from dying. It's really, really good. And you can watch it if you have Hulu, or there's like also you can probably watch it online. But it works even if you haven't watched X-Files or you're not a super fan. You just watch this performance and it's phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. I remember that episode.
You know how I know he's a serial killer? His character's name is Luther Lee Boggs. If you got 3 names, you're bound to be somebody who murdered somebody. So I love that.
Yeah.
Charles Lee, what's his last name?
Ray. Charles Lee Ray.
Yes.
For Tales from the Crypt, the episode that he is in, he is a co-star with another famous actor. He plays the mentally challenged brother of escaped convict Bill Paxton.
What?
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, dude. And it's like classic Tales from the Crypt stuff. Bill Paxton goes to prison and he escapes and he gets his brother to help him because they're going to go rob the guy who put him in prison. And the guy who put him in prison just happens to be an ice cream man. So they kill the ice cream man and steal the ice cream truck, and things go awry. Again, classic Tales from the Crypt, where they find out that the ice cream man was also like a mass murderer, and it gets like bloodier and bloodier as the day goes on.
He sells ice cream. Of course he is.
All right. Alien Resurrection, 97, Dr. Gettman.
He plays like a sketchy doctor.
Yeah.
Who's like obsessed with the xenomorphs. Yeah.
It's everything that you would like about him if you really like him. It's weird in the way you expect certain characters to be at this stage of this franchise.
It sounds more relevant, especially after the newest show. The scientists in that are super interested in the aliens. So,
well, he's like licking the glass.
Mm-hmm. Like he's really interested. You know what I mean?
Yeah, nah, like
he's super interested. Okay.
He's horny for it. That's what I'm hearing.
Interested might not be the word.
He's into it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Real into it. To each their own.
The movie's fine.
Yeah.
It's not the best version of an alien movie, but any alien movie that has a very straightforward premise is functional and can be seen and can be enjoyed. I think this mostly gets there.
Is this the Winona Ryder one?
Yeah, it gets a little out of whack. Not a huge fan of what they're doing with Sigourney Weaver, but if you can kind of look past some of that and just get into we're on this side of the ship, we have to get to the other side of the ship. That's what I love about Alien Romulus. Love that can be done in this franchise so effectively.
All right, Charles Lee Ray goes meta in Bride of Chucky, 98.
Mm.
We start to see a very funny version of Chucky. Less scary.
I just said something that got her to agree with me, and now she's going to lose all her respect for me again.
Do you not like Bride of Chucky?
I'm going to start so you guys can all yell at me. I don't like this movie.
No.
Oh,
Stop it.
I'm the guy in Child's Play 3 having a heart attack right now.
I think this is my third favorite.
Bride of Chucky is so good. Oh my God. It's essential.
This is my favorite Chucky movie, Aubrey.
It's essential.
I've never felt more like a teacher in my life. And I mean that in all the ways when someone says it in the negative sense. I am here to be just Debbie Downer on all of this.
We're doing TikTok dances you don't understand right now.
Like, I get why you guys like it. And I get why I remembered it fondly. I just don't like it.
That's okay.
I love seeing Jennifer Tilly. I'm a big fan of her just existing in my world.
I love her role in this series.
I prefer the Chucky movies to be aware of how silly and campy it is without leaning too hard into it.
Okay.
And I am well aware that I am the minority of the people that like these movies that feel that way.
I don't know about that, though, because the fans were really excited after Seed when it went back to the scary horror side and to its horror roots. So I don't think you're alone there.
Yeah.
This is the one with John Ritter, right?
Yeah.
Katherine Heigl.
Where Chucky's surprised at his own work. Yeah.
So very much enjoyed this one. Started to bring me back around because I did not like the last two. Because I watched them in order. And in watching this one, I was like, okay, I actually like that they're very much leaning into the camp and very much leaning into the self-awareness. I thought this was like the best way they could have taken where it was to like what the next step was. And yeah, it was stupid and it's funny and it's intentionally stupid. And that's why I enjoyed it. Getting a doll pregnant, it's just dumb enough for me to be like, okay, I'm enjoying myself.
Kiss me, Chucky.
When
there's some great lines in this one too. My favorite that no one ever talks about is when Chucky says, I give him 6 months. 3 if she gains weight. Kills me. And I just love the banter between the two of them. Like when they're in the car and she's making the cookies, they start commenting about the dishes not being done. And then just like watching these two like have just a domestic dispute. I get why some people wouldn't like it. Trust me, I get it. But at the same time, I found it thoroughly entertaining. So it's Brad and Chucky leaning into the meta. Did not realize he was in the Lord of the Rings films. How do you pronounce his character's name? Is it Grima? Wormtongue? Anybody know?
No, getting the name is going to be difficult for me.
Wormtongue. We'll say Wormtongue. How about that?
It's Wormtongue. I think it's Grima, but yeah.
So he's in Two Towers and Return of the King. Probably some nice paychecks that went along with that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Huge franchise.
Yeah.
Very funny little tidbit is he kept the accent when he was not filming. So like in between scenes so that, he wouldn't in between takes screw things up. And the rest of the cast were shocked once filming concluded, had an American accent to the point where one of the other actors is like, I don't know why he's speaking an American accent, but he does like the worst American accent I've ever heard. he's like,
that's amazing.
It's my real voice.
Some simpleton that didn't know he voiced Chucky.
Yeah.
2004, Seed of Chucky. Full meta. Like if you didn't like the meta in Bride, boy, are you probably going to hate Seed of Chucky.
That's a fact. This is my least favorite one.
Really liked it.
How do you explain Jennifer Tilly's character in this movie? She's trying to become Jennifer Tilly while being voiced as Jennifer Tilly. It's the whole thing.
Isn't Jennifer Tilly doing 3 things? That's crazy.
Yep.
And she makes comments about her career and the perception of her being like promiscuous and how she has to play it up for, the role she has. I don't know. I thought it was very funny. There's also like a interesting and kind of ahead of its time, like trans storyline that is based off of like the dumbest, simplest reason. And it's because the child they have is a doll and dolls don't have private parts. And so they're like, I want to raise him as a boy. And it's like, I want to raise her as a girl. And it's like, well, let's let the kid decide. And I'm like, this is actually kind of ahead of its time with like the approach they're taking here. The kid's name is Shitface. Like, it's so stupid.
Oh, good.
They kill Britney Spears. Yeah, and they say, oops, I did it again. I was like, this is so stupid. I love it.
Oops, I did it again.
Also, my favorite line joke is in this one. And it's when a clear homage to The Shining. He has an axe and he busts the door open and he puts his face through and he pauses and he goes, I just can't think of anything to say. And he stops and goes, fuck it. So good.
That must have happened at the end because I stopped watching and I don't remember that part.
No.
That was at the end. Yes, it was.
This features one of my favorite rappers of all time.
How does he die in this?
Because I love him. He is a horrible actor. I just could not get on board with this ever. This is my least favorite Child's Play movie.
It's my second favorite. It's so funny. It's so funny. The way Redman dies is he's stabbed in the dick to death, in case you were wondering.
If you love Full Camp, it's great. If you hate that version of this horror, you will fucking hate this movie because it is.
Oh, for sure.
It is so aggressively meta. Well, and Don Mancini's gay. He was excited to throw some of that into this storyline, James.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
So that's a big reason why, yeah. But you're right. In the middle of the 2000s is when comedy movies are throwing around the F word. Like, it's not an open and engaging space for the LGBTQ community, and for him to have a trans character like this in the 5th installment is kind of a cool deal.
And it was like handled like interesting and like creative. Mm-hmm. It's like the kid doesn't want to be a killer, but his dad is like, tough shit, you're a natural at killing, so obviously you're going to be a boy like your dad because I'm a natural at killing. I was like, oh, that's actually like a pretty funny way to play that. Like, yeah.
That question when he's like, why do you guys like to kill? And Chucky's like, fuck.
Yeah,
how do we respond to that? It's just something I do on the side. It calms us.
Pretty good at it,
Stephanie, like, I feel like horror creates a space that other genres can't create for storylines that can be a little progressive. Why do you think horror can do that?
It's always been a place because it's about monsters and it's about outcasts and it's about, the fringe of society.
Yeah.
Naturally, the stories are about people and things that aren't accepted and that aren't part of the norm. And so it's a great chance to explore how we see monsters and how we see other as being different and scary and all those questions about who's the real monster and stuff. So I think it's just a playground for that sort of subversive, and you can get away with it, and because it serves the story, so you can tell these stories that aren't overt but are very obvious what they're trying to say.
This is a good one.
I love the fact that we've been through 5 Chucky movies, and our opinions on them are all over the place on what we love and what. Other than we all agree, Child's Play 1 is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
That's regardless of your opinion. The original one's amazing, and then everybody has kind of their preferences after you go after.
It's also so amazing, like how many evolutions this franchise has been through, and how many times it's reinvented itself, and
Continuing.
it continues to do so. I mean, whether you love it or hate it, that's really damn impressive if you think about it.
We basically told half of its story at this point. There's still a bunch more to come. So that's the crazy part, right? I'm going to do a review on the Deadwood movie here in a little bit as highest critic score. But before that, between 04 and 06, 36 episodes of Deadwood as Doc Cochran, Emmy and SAG-nom. So the first time he's gotten additional awards love since very early in his career. I've never seen the show, but I know people love Deadwood. And that's why there was a movie that came out freaking 10 years later.
I've seen the first maybe season and a half of Deadwood. It was one of those shows that I was watching and I just kind of fell off of. It was not the show's fault. I think Deadwood's great. I think Deadwood is a show that does not fit in 2025. I think it's an impossible show to recommend to someone now just because of its pacing.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's a Western, so you're already signed up for pacing that is slower than what you would normally take. As good as it is, I think it's great. I just remember watching it and being like, there's not a single person I think I could share this with.
It makes sense because, as I'll talk about, I couldn't get into the movie. And without the source material, and even then, I don't know if I would have probably struggled with it. Last note here before our largest audience gap is the movie The Wild Blue Yonder. He plays the alien in 2005. I thought it was a really unique concept that I hadn't really seen before. They picked Brad Dourif to play the alien because he just looks kind of odd. And he obviously has a pretty iconic voice, and it's a story told about how aliens were on the Earth and the history of humanity through the lens of an alien who propagated the Earth. I just thought it was really interesting the way it's shot, the way the story was written, and he as a character choice to me is really interesting to play that type of role. I don't know if any of you saw it though.
I haven't seen it, but that sounds amazing. I'm writing this down.
They film him in almost dystopian type formats where he's talking about the downfall of the Earth from the alien perspective.
Is it a remake?
It's a Werner Herzog film.
Oh, shit.
But I don't know if it's a remake.
I Googled and it says there's a movie from 1951, and I don't know if it's based on the same story or not.
Yeah, I don't know either. He's the only voice, the only actor you get in this other than just videos from space, from NASA stuff, just kind of showing natural history as it unfolds. So it's just a really unique approach to telling a story, and his voice is, I think, perfect for it. The way they have him set up, he looks kind of odd. That guy could be an alien in human skin.
Sounds awesome.
Fascinating movie. Largest audience gap is going to be 2007's Halloween. He played Sheriff Brackett, and Stephanie is our guest Munson. She's got this one.
When Rob Zombie's Halloween slashed its way into theaters in 2007, it was doomed to controversy before a single frame appeared. Remaking John Carpenter's seminal 1978 masterpiece, one of the most sacred texts in horror history, was always going to be a challenge. But doing it through the grimy, blood-slicked lens of Zombie's grindhouse aesthetic, for many fans, that was sacrilege. The result was a film that divided critics and enraged Carpenter loyalists. But peel back the noise, and what emerges is a bold, brutal, and devastating reinterpretation that deserves far more credit than it's ever received. For the first third of the film, Zombie explores how a monster is made. This is where his vision diverges most dramatically from Carpenter's, and where the controversy begins. Carpenter's Michael Myers is pure, unexplainable evil. He kills without motive, without reason, a walking embodiment of nihilism. Zombie's Michael, however, is heartbreakingly human. We watch a sensitive boy, a mother's beloved son, slowly erode under trauma until nothing remains but rage and emptiness. Critics accuse Zombie of over-explaining the boogeyman. Carpenter himself lamented that the new version took away the mystery. And yes, Michael is less an abstract shape here, but that's the point. Rob Zombie's visual language has always been divisive. It's filthy, loud, and drenched in Americana rot. In Halloween, that chaos, as off-putting as it is, works brilliantly. Scout Taylor Compton's Laurie Strode offers a refreshingly grounded take on the final girl. She's awkward and sincere, and her trauma lingers beyond the film's final potent moments. Zombie's sequel would later expound on Laurie's PTSD years before the Blumhouse trilogy made it fashionable. And then there's Brad Dourif. As Sheriff Lee Brackett, Dourif delivers one of the franchise's most underrated performances. A loving father to Annie, played by franchise favorite Danielle Harris, Dourif grounds the chaos in emotional truth. When tragedy strikes, his anguish is palpable. This isn't the Michael Carpenter gave us, and that's okay. The shape remains untouchable. But this Michael, this broken boy turned monster, he's tragedy incarnate. But it's also one of the few remakes that feels like an act of authorship. Personal, fearless, and unapologetically his. You can fault it for being ugly, but not for being dishonest. Love it or loathe it, the film remains one of the boldest reimaginings in modern horror.
Bravo, Stephanie. Bravo. That is a good review. I'm glad I already did my review, so I don't have to follow this one.
So this film, probably more than any other film, has challenged my credibility as a critic. I know I'm in the minority with how I feel about it. And also, I will say that I am a fan of Rob Zombie, and I know that he's super polarizing just as a filmmaker. And if you don't like his shtick, I mean, there's nothing I can say to make you like it. Like, I get it. He's not for everyone. I think when it comes to remaking iconic films, I think if you're going to do it, you've got to bring something different to the table. You've got to have a new vision. You've got to reimagine it in some way that justifies its existence. Otherwise, what is the point? And I think love it or hate it, Zombie really takes authorship of this film and he makes it his own and he brings his own vision to it. And I get a lot of times that's why people get pissed off because, you know, when people have so much love and reverence for the source material, they don't want to see it challenged at all. And I think it brings something new to the franchise. And I don't think it takes anything away from how much the original is just one of the best films of all time. And
I agree with you on this.
Ooh.
Because it felt like Rob Zombie's a fan of the horror genre. And it feels like it's a movie made by a hardcore fan. And that's why I've always liked it.
Yeah.
Even before I even knew who Brad Dourif was, I always liked his performance in this.
Damn.
I'm on the same page as you. I enjoyed both of them.
It's so much pathos, yeah.
His voice lends well to that character, too, as the sheriff.
He's the one who puts an end to it, so he's got an important role, his character.
And it's so heartbreaking. Like, you feel everything. Like, every death, you feel it. It's very, very visceral in a really disturbing way, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
From the jump with beating the shit out of the kid with a stick in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
I watched this last night. I have it on DVD over here. We haven't talked about this movie since we covered Danny Trejo. I remember John Cohorn was on with us.
His movies keep me at arm's length. And they keep me at arm's length because his relationship to horror is not my relationship to horror, which is fine. Because he does love horror movies. His movies are almost odes to the genre that he loved. I respect that, and I'm here for that, for him, and for the people that love that. I don't watch horror movies for excessive violence, for brutality, and things like that, as counterproductive as that might sound.
Mm-hmm.
I'm there for the tension and some of the other really clever things that can be done. This movie is not bad. I don't think I'd ever say that I like it. I don't enjoy watching this movie. It's chilling in a way that I actually respect. He's trying to do something that the core audience that would go see this movie does not go see this movie to see.
That's fair.
Yeah.
The people that are going to see a Rob Zombie slasher horror movie, and I say this lovingly, I assume are not there to see a really thoughtful take on
commentary on fatherhood or something like that.
Yeah, and like it's really interested in Michael Myers' psychology and how do we respond to people doing this thing, which is an interesting concept. I think he almost gets in his own way though, because you have this really interesting concept that he's trying to pull out, and he does it in a very visceral way, in a very honest way, which is what makes it so hard to watch. Mm-hmm. And then you have like straight up and down slasher elements, and they don't coexist well enough for this to be something I can really latch on to. I respect what he accomplishes. He's the only person that has ever successfully got into the psychology of a slasher apart from maybe a Freddy movie, but he does it in a really earnest way.
Yeah, you really have to pre-qualify your audience, I think, with this one, because not only does it sort of change up a beloved franchise that's difficult, but it's Rob Zombie. And I think right off the bat, like, that's a tough sell for a lot of people. And I get it. I get why. Like, I get why his sensibility is not for everyone.
I would say it's hard to recommend because it is so chilling. It's so visceral.
Yeah.
It's off-putting.
Mm-hmm.
If that's his intended purpose, then kudos to him. He made the exact movie he wanted to make. The movie in and of itself is far from bad. It's just an interesting movie.
I think because I watch so much horror that it's really hard for something to get under my skin like this one does and to chill me to the bone the way this one does. For me, that's like very exciting and thrilling because I don't get it very often.
I was ready to hate this movie, and it wasn't bad. Do I think it was good? No, but that's mostly because of the reasons you guys shared and, with kind of how Rob Zombie does his movies and what made the first one so iconic. It was the unknown. It was the atmosphere. It's what you didn't see. It's what you kind of saw a little bit of. And Rob Zombie's like, no, we're doing this broad daylight and you're going to know exactly what just happened. Completely different emotion that he tries to get from you. Obviously, the first one is, still on my Mount Rushmore. Does this compare to that? No. Is it as bad as people say it is? Also, no.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of 5 Halloween timelines, so it's hard to follow every piece and part of the Halloween universe.
Well, I will say that was less painful than I imagined it would be, so thank you for that.
It's a pretty nuanced perspective.
I was good to you. Oh, yeah.
Mikey, don't do it to me, Mikey.
As I'm listening to you guys talk, this Halloween is more about Michael Myers than it is Laurie Strode.
Yes.
For sure.
That's probably where you lost a lot of the audience. In context of our conversation tonight, Chucky is about Brad Dourif's character. It's not about anybody else. It's about Chucky.
This is an interesting debate to have.
It starts with the POV of the serial killer in Chucky.
It does.
We'll talk about curse and cult here in a bit, Case, but I think the Andy through line to that might change some of your perspective on that as well. There might be something there. But before we do that, we got to get into the Wizard of Gore from Aubrey as our largest critic gap. I don't know how long this is going to be, but based on your indication earlier, I don't think this is a good movie.
This is a movie from 2007. It was directed by Jeremy Caston. It stars some people that you may have known. Brad Dourif is in it for a stretch of time playing a super odd character that I didn't like. The plot description is Montag the Magnificent is a master illusionist who performs at underground venues, selecting female volunteers from his rave-like audiences, which is not true because the audiences are all sitting down quietly. To their hysteria, it appears he's dismembered their bodies. His sleight of hand has them fooled. However, female bodies show up dead from the same wounds performed on stage. Investigators are baffled, and the chase to find the killer begins. This movie's terrible. There's not a single thing about it that I find interesting, compelling, or good. I knew that we were in for a really interesting spot when I got the movie called The Wizard of Gore. It's my least favorite aspect of horror. It took so long for me to work up the energy to watch this because I'm like, there's going to be so many things I don't really want to see. Was partly true. This movie was a lot more psychological than it probably should have been. It's just not good. Brad Dourif is weird. He walks around with leeches on his back.
Oh, lovely.
You have to get Plex to watch this movie. Don't watch the movie.
It's only a critic gap, Aubrey, because there's only 3 critics who rated this film. So 2 of the 3 loved it. That's why we're at where we are.
It had been so long since I looked at the show notes that I thought I had lowest critic score.
I'll trade you.
Brad Dourif didn't have a lot of critic gap options in his resume.
Valid.
Everyone's pretty aligned on their thoughts.
Or a lot of audience gap. Low budget horror we love it, and critics like, fuck this movie. That kind of thing. Sorry, Aubrey. Took the bullet on that one.
That's cool. I'm sure somebody out there loves this movie, and for them, I'm very happy.
Yeah, one
Crispin
person.
Glover. How can you not be a Crispin Glover fan?
you need a creepy character.
And he's the star of this, and he's
your
really,
guy.
like, compelling.
He gets
He
after
nails
it.
The movie's batshit crazy, but I don't know. I say it's worth watching just to, like, see Crispin Glover being Crispin Glover.
I'll give it a shot during the Crispin Glover episode. How about that? I got you, Aubrey.
Fair.
For me, it was a little over 60 minutes, but it's about 94 minutes total.
Yeah.
All right, we got one review left, so everything between there and now. Halloween 2, we talked about the next Rob Zombie version, much maligned, but told a unique story, as Case talked about, maybe. 2012, Wilfred, one of my favorite shows from this time. We just don't talk about Wilfred a lot. He plays a physical therapist who goes on a spirit journey. He's a spirit guide for Wilfred in that show.
Was this the dog show?
Yeah.
Talking
This
dog.
is Warren and I are a big bedrock of our friendship early on was watching Wilfred together. So I love talking about Wilfred.
Wasn't the main character the Lord of the Rings dude?
It's an Australian show that got pulled over to the States. Elijah Wood plays the main character, but it's the same guy who played Wilfred in Australia who plays Wilfred in the American version. He hallucinates, and his dog is a chain-smoking alcoholic person in a dog suit, basically, throughout the whole show. But during that time, Brad Dourif's doing a lot of work. He's got 9 movies without an audience score, so he's doing a lot of low-budget films, kind of riding the high of his name and what he's doing, but not a lot of stuff you've ever heard of. And that's the same thing with previous decades, too. I mean, we've covered a lot of the big ones, 175 credits. There's a ton of other stuff in there. You just are super fans. Stephanie, I'm sure you've seen a bunch of those in there, but for the general audience, have probably never heard of a lot of his films during that time period. But next installment of the Chuckyverse, Curse of Chucky, 2013. Fiona enters the Chuckyverse, his daughter, return to the horror side.
I like this movie.
I didn't make it to it. My Chucky viewing has ended.
This is the version of the Child's Play movies that I like. It attempts to be funny at points. It's still silly at points, but it leans more into a horror aspect of it. It tries to ground it a little bit more. And this is the movie that features my favorite Chucky quote.
What is it?
I'm not 100% sure why they made this character the way that she is, but she is in a wheelchair. She cannot use her legs. And we are at the end. She is laying on the ground after Chucky's trying to kill her, and he says, 25 years. Since then, a lot of families have come and gone. The Barclays, the Kincaids, and the Tillys. But Nika, your family was always my favorite. And now you're the last one standing, so to speak.
So to speak, yeah.
As he looked over his shoulder, it's so good. It was so
Wink
good.
and nod. Yep.
I loved it so much. It's a solid movie.
I had to Google if Fiona Dourif was in a wheelchair.
That's how good she is at it?
You could tell when she's trying to climb the stairs. I was looking. It created some tension. So I think as a plot device, this is a good movie.
I think Fiona had to audition 4 or 5 times for the role, too. It wasn't just handed to her on a silver platter as his daughter either.
That sucks, dude. It's your dad is Chucky. He's you can't give me any fucking job. That's crazy.
Based on the interviews I saw of him, he must have loved the fact.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's retired now. He's I'm only coming out of retirement to do Chucky or to work with my daughter. He's that's it.
A good dad.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Return to the stage, 2013. Tennessee Williams, the 2 character play with Amanda Plummer. That's cool. All those years later to go back to the stage side, kind of where he got his start, where he was teaching. That's pretty cool. In that same year, Ginger Clown, the movie we've referenced a few times, plays a worm creature who says the most vile things possible. Just imagine all the worst things Chucky would say and put it into a really bad CGI version of a worm creature. And that's Ginger Clown. A bunch of shitty kids go and do an amusement park thing, and everything has come to life. And it's comical. It's really not that scary.
No, it's a full moon type of production. So Evil Bong type of world. That's what we're dealing with.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I know.
All the creatures are pissed about how the place is run. You know what I mean? They're trying to run this shit and they're what the fuck? We got to get upgrades around here. This is awful. And it's supposed to be a scary, we're going to kill the kid situation. It's stupid.
And you know who Ginger Clown is, right?
I don't.
I just saw
Tim Curry. So...
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Alone isn't a reason to make you watch. I don't know what else to say.
Legend. I just saw him do an interview where he talked about having to relearn to speak after his brain tumor.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he seems like he's doing better.
Yeah, it was pretty serious.
Okay. Last one, Cult of Chucky. Still scary. This is in a mental institution. There's 3 Chuckies. That interplay between the 3 Chuckies is fantastic. They are hilarious together as they're trying to fight over who's going to kill Andy.
That part worked.
Yeah, my favorite one is the one with the shitty haircut. It's so funny.
I love when he sits up and they're both like, what the hell happened to him?
I've never felt more alive.
You've been alive for 2 minutes.
I didn't like this one, though.
No.
I didn't like this one.
What?
I had issues with the mental hospital stuff.
I can see that.
I didn't really like that. And so that is the part that I struggled with. I think some of the ideas are fine. I think it's fun if you don't think about it really at all. I just wish that it would have started there and went somewhere else.
Okay.
I think the setting and the fact that they used the setting for kind of a weird interplay just didn't work for me at all, and it kind of turned me off.
Was it budget, you think?
I mean, they didn't have a huge budget for these 2.
I think that was probably it, and it makes sense for her to be there because of the way the first movie ended. I just think some of the choices they made with the patients, I didn't like that.
Are you referring to the one where the woman, she's very forgetful, and he wants to intimidate her, but she just has no clue what's going on, and so...
I mean, that's an example of what it is that I don't like, is that it's using...
dementia as a device.
Yeah, it's using all of their issues as a device, and it just didn't vibe with me.
That's fair. All right. Highest critic score for him is Deadwood, the movie from 2019. Again, Doc Cochran making that return with that character. I've never seen an episode of the show, so I'm probably the last person who should have been reviewing this movie. It's very well rated by audiences and critics alike, which tells me a lot about the fandom of the show. 10 years later, if you don't do the original story service, your fans are going to crush you, and that is not the case here. I think it's hard to catch up with this film 10 years later if you didn't watch the source material, and that was my challenge. The events are unfolding in 1989. I realized later it's based on true events of South Dakota essentially becoming a state.
Yeah.
A lot of the chaos and corruption that's going on at the time. When Senator George Hearst makes an offer to Charlie Utter for his property claim, and Charlie declines, the results are explosive. Case, are you a fan of the show? And you could speak to this better than I could.
It was in HBO's heyday, weekly shows that everybody loved. And the characters were super well developed and casted really well, Brad Dourif included.
Yeah. I was trying to categorize how I would describe his character because he got Emmy consideration for his role in the show originally. And I was I describe him as direct, foul, and sassy. He's just a doctor that doesn't take shit and is super to the point. And if you learn anything about his personality on screen over the years, you're yeah, that makes sense. He would be a good fit for that type of character in that role. But I didn't walk away being best role he's ever been in. But one character and a big cast of characters is part of this universe. So
best describe this show, it's a massive and talented ensemble cast. No one's going to stand out. Not even Timothy Oliphant. He doesn't even stand out.
No. And that might have been my problem is I was waiting for somebody to really capture, but it's really about more of a long form storytelling of what was happening 10 years prior to that. And I was I'm not invested in this at all. So I'm sorry all to the Deadwood heads out there. Maybe you can tell us why we were wrong on that. But all right, let's round this thing out, y'all. The Chucky TV show, 24 episodes, 2021 to 2024. We get to see him, I think, his Charles Lee Ray character in the show, if I'm not incorrect on that.
The last 2 or 3 episodes. I really enjoyed this show, and I thought it was the right kind of campy, leaned into what the show had done, and it really put all of the strange and kind of tangent subplots all on a collision course with each other.
Yeah.
That's kind of how they ended the show. Dourif and Jennifer Tilly ride off into the sunset on this. If you want to call Chucky the villain in this, the villain wins. And it's pretty cool. I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed getting to see him act in this show again. The creators of this show kind of gave him that to send him out on top. I think it was a USA show. So they pushed the limits a little bit, but not nearly like they were.
And that kind of leads us to where we're at today. I mean, you could watch documentaries like Living with Chucky where they talk about the franchise and you can learn a little bit more about it. But as James mentioned, he retired from acting for anything not Chucky or Fiona related. He's done well. He's got his cats out back. He sounds like he's more than content in this world, being an icon and doing the circuits. It looks like he still goes to Comic-Cons and does some of that stuff. You know, somebody asks him to do the Chucky laugh on the stage. He gets a little uncomfortable, but eventually does it for you, that kind of thing.
Just chilling with Honey Mustard and Snapdragon.
All right, Case, what do we got for top performances?
For tonight's list, let's go to filmschoolrejects.com and let's use a list created by Meg Shields, and it was published on October 26, 2023, and it is titled 10 Best Brad Dourif Horror Performances That Aren't Chucky. So this does not include Chucky because I think that's the obvious number one. So let's get into it.
I want to go first.
Please.
Exorcist 3.
Exorcist 3 is...
If it's not on there, I'm going to say this is not reputable list.
Yeah, rabble.
Number one.
Yes!
This fucking guy. Sandbagger.
I'm happy now.
Critters 4.
Critters 4 is not on the list.
The Wizard of Gore.
Please don't
Nope,
do it to him.
not on the list.
I feel like Alien has to be on the list if they're counting that as horror.
Are you referring to Alien Resurrection from 1996?
Yes, I am.
Number 5.
Woo!
Halloween, Sheriff Brackett.
Mm-hmm.
Halloween, Sheriff Brackett is number 7.
Is Halloween 2 on the list?
He's on fire. This guy's on fire.
Halloween 2, 2009 is number 8. 7
Didn't
and 8
package
for that
him.
movie.
That's a really good performance from him.
Oh, yeah. And he's a good shot, too.
So basically, we're looking at anything after 1988 here. Does Final Judgment count?
Final Judgment is not on the list, and we have talked about every movie except 3 of them.
Ginger Clown.
Ginger Clown is not on the list.
Not a chance.
What about one we didn't talk about, which we should have? Death Machine?
Holy shit. She's good, folks. That's why we bring her on. Death Machine, 1994.
Death Machine is so good, you guys, if you haven't seen it. It's outrageous.
Okay.
Number 10.
You got any other horrors that we didn't talk about that you think might be on that list?
There's one for sure we didn't talk about. It is saying it is a short performance.
Is it Body Parts?
That particular one is not Body Parts, but Body Parts is on the list at number 9.
Don't tell me Graveyard Shift is on it. Please don't.
Well, unfortunately, Graveyard
He's
Shift.
good in Graveyard Shift.
He
is
is
good. Graveyard Shift is number 2. I almost didn't take it, but when it outlined that it was Rolls,
I mean,
then I was
he's
like,
a believable rat exterminator. Like, don't get me wrong, with this little man bun back there, like, I could see it.
So we're missing number 3, number 4, and number 6.
Just tell us.
Is it Spontaneous Combustion?
Spontaneous Combustion is number 3. So we're missing number 4, which is a short role but highly memorable, and number 6. All right, the movie we brought up and we talked about was The Eyes of Laura Mars.
Oh.
And the one that we did not talk about, Urban Legend from 1998.
Oh,
we didn't.
Yes, I saw that in theaters.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. What's his top 3 again?
Top 3 performances, The Exorcist, Graveyard Shift, and Spontaneous Combustion.
So Chucky, those 3? All right. I'm so happy Spontaneous Combustion made the top 3. That validates the time I spent watching that movie. I'm very happy.
I'm glad I learned about Death Machine, so I'm going to go watch that.
And The Exterminator and Graveyard Shift. Look at that.
That's
You guys, please message me after you watch Death Machine. I need to hear your thoughts on it.
You got it.
Well, let's get into the Munson Meter. What we do, we rate every actor on a scale of 0 to 100 based on a variety of factors that could include anything from longevity, project choice, pop culture impact, acting range, awards footprint, other talents, personal life, comedic chops, box office success, and anything else that matters to us as Munsons. Case, kick us off.
Well, this was a fun episode, but I didn't know a lot about Brad Dourif and what he did, and I didn't even really understand his impact on Child's Play and the iconic role of Chucky. As I worked my way through the series of Chucky, as I look at that franchise, it really sums up his career, right? Where starts the first movie off, and then he becomes the voice of this iconic character for decades. As that TV show concluded, everybody is cheering for Brad Dourif, and they give him his final moment in the sun. They let his character back in human form on the show, present day, and it was really cool to see him celebrated in that show, and I think that kind of sums up his career. I could make the argument that it's iconic of a character as we've looked at entire 126 episodes of this podcast. The problem with this particular episode is I focus mostly on his horror roles. I didn't really get into a lot of his other drama roles or some of those other things. And so his range really isn't great in my opinion. Like I said, he's an icon and he played an iconic character decades and decades and decades. And I really tip my hat to the man. And with that, I'm going to give him a score of 70.
As I look back at Brad Dourif, I think, one, his voice work is iconic. You know, shout out to the Alan Tudyk's of the world. Voice work is hard. It's solo. It can be lonely, I think, a lot of times. But what he did is undeniable, in part because he is undeniably menacing as a voice actor and as an actor. There's an intensity in his eyes, and I know that, like Stephanie mentioned that earlier, that you just don't see often. That intensity, Daniel Day-Lewis has that intensity. Philip Seymour Hoffman had that intensity. There's some actors who can really capture that. He has that. You see it in bits and pieces inside and outside the horror genre, but you could tell he's got that. He's got the theater background. And for someone known for his horror doll persona, I think he does have legitimate acting abilities. Whether or not you got to see a lot of it throughout his career in a diversity of projects, I don't know. His biggest downfall is his physical appearance. He doesn't have that leading man appearance. He's a smaller guy, scary voice, and he's not typically good looking like a Chris Pine. And that probably held him back in his career from taking up. But who knows? He probably didn't want that stuff. He's like, I love being Chucky. Let's live my life. But he played characters in movies with like directors with really bold visions, like Milos Forman, Werner Herzog, David Lynch, iconic directors known for really unique projects. And so I give him credit for kind of working in that space. And he's a great fit for our Halloween horror episode because he was in 4 major franchises in Child's Play, Alien, Halloween, and Exorcist. Those are some of the biggest ones you'll see in that space. And so he's a great fit for what we're looking for. And I don't know if I told you guys this story, but when I was a kid, I remember going to the bowling alley at Century Bowl in Waterford, Michigan, and there was a Chucky doll in the like little claw game. And I was so terrified of Chucky as a kid that I literally would like hide from the claw game so I couldn't see it. Like Chucky terrified my soul as a kid. And so like Brad Dourif holds a special place to me because of his voice was the foundation for something that truly haunted me as a child. Do I reward or punish him on the Munson Meter for that? You be the judge. And then I got to give him an extra point for being a cat dad. So I'm going to give him what I think is a pretty respectable 75. Stephanie, our guest Munson.
So I think I've told you this before. This part stresses me out more than anything because I do not know how to do this. Because I want to give everyone like these horror icons like a 250 across the board always.
Stephanie, if it makes you feel better, we hate this part of the process also.
It's so hard.
We judge our own scores incredibly hard. Yeah.
What I love about this podcast is that I feel like it always makes me smarter. You know, a lot of times you'll pick people that I'm like, well, I know this person, like I know their filmography. And then I only know like a tip of the iceberg I find, and it makes me go and like dig. And for this one, because I'm so familiar with so much of his horror, you talked about like not being able to expand and see his broader range. And I was able to do that because I was able to see films that had not been on my radar and see this depth and breadth that I did not know existed. And that was incredibly impressive to me and really exciting. I think he's an absolute icon, and I think people who are iconic at this status deserve extra points, regardless of how much your film's made, regardless of how big of a household name you are. If there are certain things, and I feel like we've talked about several characters where it's like, if you only did this one thing, you would still be a legend.
Yeah.
And he's an absolute legend. And I also think he's another one of those people who he's in a lot of shitty films, if we're being honest, but he's kind of always one of the best parts, and he always elevates whatever he brings to the table and is so magnetic and so watchable and such a like theatrical. He acts so well with his face, with his voice, with his body. I think he's freaking phenomenal. I think he can take the smallest role and make it really something special and memorable. According to this Munson Meter, probably a very high score, low for me, but I gave him an 86 out of 100 for half a century of fearless variety. I think he's never been the most famous man in the room, but he is often the most memorable, and he gets a lot of points for that from me.
Great line.
Compared to Max von Sydow's 100, it's a low score, but it's damn good.
Mm-hmm.
Damn good. James.
You know what sucks is going after someone who gives such a great review and a great score when you're on a different side of the spectrum. but I'll still give him his flowers and I'll still agree. I don't think he gets enough respect as a character actor because of his success and iconic role as Chucky. But, he started off his first role, he was nominated for an Academy Award, and it was well-deserved. He lost as a 24-year-old Academy Award to George Burns, who was getting his, Icon Career Achievement Award, essentially. So, he was with the heavy hitters from the jump, which is incredible, and it's something that should be celebrated. Also, every time I see him talk, he's, just an incredibly endearing person. It's...
Yeah.
Hey, I don't really need money anymore, so I'm only going to work when I want to. I'm going to hang out with my adult children and play with my cats. It's yeah, dude, that's the dream. I think that's exactly the way you should retire. That's awesome. But, what I knock him for is there's so many shitty movies that are in there. I think he is a good actor. I think he does have the range, and sometimes you just need to be a working actor. And because of that, there's so many shitty movies, Critters 4 and Exorcist 3 and Ginger Clown, and some of them are so bad they're good, and I don't think that's something I would hold against him, but I'm going to give him a 65.
Round us out.
I enjoy this process. I specifically enjoy this process with people that I'm not that familiar with.
Yeah.
While I did spend a large portion of my time rewatching Chucky movies, because if you give me an excuse to rewatch Chucky movies, I will do that. I love that franchise, regardless of how I feel about each individual movie. I love that franchise, and I will watch them at any time. I think him being able to be the voice behind an iconic character is amazing. He is a huge portion of why that character is so iconic. He gets a ton of credit for that. I think he's a good, solid working actor, can do a lot of different things. I think being a character actor who mainly does horror movies is in part why he gets overlooked, because as a people, we have not evolved far enough to respect horror as a genre properly. So I just think he's a good actor. I didn't get to see the stuff that would really impress me. I don't remember Deadwood all that well.
Yeah.
And knowing that show the way that I do know it, I know that he was great and he fits in well. I didn't see One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I didn't see the things that I would maybe alter the score a bit, but I feel like I see enough in his work based on the way that I go about this to just comfortably place him next to other very good actors whose body of work doesn't necessarily match up to how good I think they maybe are, but I haven't seen personally the stuff that would get him higher. So I'm actually right where James is at. He's a 65.
With that gives Brad Dourif a 72.2, which puts him in 69th place, so just under his 67 in the box office snapshot.
So close.
If you're keeping score at home, that puts him just behind Jaimin Hansu and Doug Jones, and just ahead of Chris Pratt, and a three-way tie of Andre Hallen, Alan Tudyk, and Chaz Palminteri.
What a fucking group.
Wait, he's behind Chris Pratt? Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
But just barely.
He's ahead of Chris Pratt by less than a point. Just less than a point.
That makes me want to cry just a little bit. I just needed to let you know that.
The guy gotta earn it.
No.
Is Brad Dourif in Jurassic World?
Aubrey, what's he got coming?
Shockingly, for a retired man, he has a couple of things in development.
Ooh.
Good as he is at acting, he's not great at retirement. These movies have nothing. So I'm not 100% sure they're not something past an idea that a really eager filmmaker just put on IMDb. But he has something called Parish of Angels, which is a horror thriller. And then something called The Ambiku, where he plays a priest, Father Luke Daniel.
Ooh.
Yep, not Tyrone, so maybe I'll watch that one.
Father Tyrone's not coming back?
Damn. Let's hope this is a little bit more of a procedural. Maybe it'll hit better.
Well, who knows if those movies actually exist and will ever come out. I hope they do for the sake of those filmmakers. I am sure he'll do something with Chucky at some point in time.
Do you think the filmmakers are just trying to get him to sign on to the project? They're like, just add his IMDb to it. Maybe he'll agree on the set.
Who knows?
Maybe he clicked accept by accident.
Yeah. Next episode's going to hit November 20th. We've got Corey Wallace returning to the podcast. She was with us for Natasha Lyonne, Aubrey Plaza, Dakota Johnson, Lucy Liu, and Kristen Wiig. These 5 actors are on the wheel. The wheel selected one of them. She chose to hang out with us for that actor. So the options I got for you are Elizabeth Banks, Oliver Platt, Charlotte Rampling, J.B. Smoove, and Vin friggin' Diesel. What do we like or dislike from that?
What?
I know I didn't just hear what I thought I heard.
Vin friggin' Diesel is on the wheel, boys. And Stephanie.
I feel like it kind of has to be Vin Diesel, right?
Is that a Corey pick, though? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, based on her picks, that would be the exact opposite of what she's. I mean, I feel like if we're basing it off that, it's got to be Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah, I could talk the better sister again. That would be exciting.
Elizabeth Banks would be funny.
And Power Rangers.
Role models.
I like Oliver Platt. I don't know too many of his movies, but like when I see him, I know who he is.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Oliver Platt's got one of the greatest creature features I know of.
So good.
One said Lake Placid.
Oh, okay.
Lake Placid is awesome.
He's funny in The Bear.
Mm-hmm. Chef. It's another one. Really like him in Chef.
I mean, Charlotte Rampling would be cool. She's a great actor. I think she might be racist, though. So,
Oh, no.
Okay, for real? Like actually racist? Hold on.
I think so.
Oh, that's going to hurt her score.
Yeah, the Munson Meter is going to take a hit on that one for sure.
What is she known for?
Charlotte, just this is going to show up on our like most answered questions. Is Charlotte Rampling racist? No, I am not.
No, it pops right up. Yep. All right, cool. Oh, no, you know what it is?
I hope this is what you do.
You know what it is? She's clearly one of those people who has aged into a place where they think it's normal to talk this way about how things are racist against white people. And we're like, oh, man, real disconnected from society.
Oh, no.
She's like 107 years old. So she's like, she's racist in the way that like everyone that age is probably racist. She's a great actor, though. She's got some really good stuff. Like she's like a really legit top tier, could possibly get a really high score actress.
Gets back to the Dune world because she plays Reverend Mother Moam, the one with the box.
Oh my God, she's so good in that. 45 Years is just a remarkable movie.
It's a great film. Melancholia, great film as well.
No chance.
J.B. Smooth's funny, but like that will be maybe one of the lowest Munson Meter scores of all time. Chris O'Dowd might have some competition in that one.
I can't think of a J.B. Smoove movie. I only know him from Curb. I don't know
Commercials.
J.B. Smoove, his performance during the Jets jersey reveal. Like,
funny dude.
He's in Barbershop The Next Cut.
Oh, well, there you go.
The worst of the barbershop movies.
Yeah, movie 43.
I think the answer here is you all want Vin Diesel, right? Just to see what James comes up with facts-wise. But
we need to pay homage to the king.
We're going to get Elizabeth Banks.
Stephanie, if you were going to come back and not do a horror Halloween episode, which of these 5 would you pick?
I think Oliver Platt would be super fun to talk about. Or the racist woman. That might be kind of fun. I don't know what she's done, but
a little hatred.
I think she's got some horror stuff.
I do like the horror stuff, so
She does?
yeah.
All right, well, we'll see. Stephanie doesn't decide. Corey doesn't decide.
The wheel decides.
The wheel decides, and we'll see what happens.
We know who decides.
Stephanie, we love having you. You're phenomenal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You know, this is your red carpet moment. We roll out the red carpet for you. Feel free to plug anything you're working on, anything that you guys do in the podcast or website space, or any other wise words for our audience. The floor is yours.
One of the things I told you is that, you know, this podcast always inspires me, and I get to take a deep dive into filmographies. And I had so much fun with this one that I actually wrote this article, which is basically a month-long watch list of Brad Dourif's films that you haven't seen. And it's sort of broken out like week by week into different themes. And so I'm going to publish that in conjunction with the release of this podcast. So
awesome.
If you want to go explore some of the stuff that I loved, you can go check it out. And I also like some of the stuff's really hard to find, but I found all of it and I've got links to everything. So if you can go check out some of his obscure stuff and some of his really fun stuff, especially if you're into the horror side of things. If you loved this podcast as much as I love talking about these films, then go check that out. And that's all I've got.
Very cool.
We love it. We're so appreciative of the partnership. You work with us every year to do this, and a lot of cross promotion, and you guys are just doing such cool work over there. So it's awesome.
Thank you.
and you come up and chop it up with us about some great films and some bad ones and everything in between, and we get to have a good time every Halloween. So, well, as we wrap things up, you can find us, as always, on Instagram and Threads at Munsons at the Movies. You can email us, munsonsatthemovies@gmail.com. Any final thoughts from Brad Dourif?
I'm fucking infamous. I'm one of the most notorious slashers in history, and I don't want to give that up. I am Chucky, the killer doll, and I dig it!
Munsons out.
All right, let's go. Thank you for the education, gentlemen. We've just received a PhD in stupidity. Doctor, shall we?
I never felt so alive! Yeah, well, you've been alive for like 2 minutes. Welcome to the cult, pal. But Nika, your family was always my favorite. And now, you're the last one standing, so to speak.
I give him 6 months. 3 if she gains weight.
I can't think of a thing to say. Fuck it.
Well, this little guy has a face only a mother could love.
Hi, I'm Chucky, and I wouldn't talk if I were you.
Don't fuck with the Chuck.